I'm so excited to be on here tonight to hang out with you guys and to just talk to you about something that comes up a lot. Because when you're trying to build a business with Plexus, we can start to wonder, what am I supposed to be doing? And how in the world do I get people to want to do this with me? One thing that I have learned in the 7 years I've been doing Plexus is that if one person is feeling like this, like they're not sure what to do, then most of us are feeling that way. And I can tell you right now that as I was listening and learning these things, so I'm a Diamond Ambassador, I've been with Plexus for 7 years. And y'all, I was messaging top leaders in Plexus. Like, I worked with Brittany Howard. I watched some Christina Williams stuff, Jessica Heffley. I was seeking out people who I really respect in this business to basically kind of go over with me, like, yeah, these are the things we do too, or this is something that I do that's different, because not everything that works for me is going to work for your personality. And not everything that Danielle does is going to work for your personality, or Latoya or Lauren. It's going to fit to your personality. That's important. Okay. And so I'm really excited about tonight because I really intentionally went through and asked a lot of questions. And I was just always thinking, if I could know something at silver, if I could have known something at gold, if I could have known something at senior gold or ruby or any of these things, what would that have been? What would I have wanted to learn and to know? So I want you to drop a 1 in the comments. I mean, look at all your faces, 65 people on here. I love that. I want you to tell me, drop a 1 in the comments if you've ever asked yourself, how in the world do I create? Lee's already put a 1 in. He's like, you don't need to ask the question. He's like, I'm here for it. How do you create business builders? Alita, how do you create business builders? Someone drop a 1 in the comments. If you're here, it's because you are wondering what in the world, okay? How do I build business builders? Okay. Now, if I had a smoke machine and some lights, this is when it would come on. All right, we would be doing it right now. Okay, so how do I create business builders? So first up, we're going to talk about handling their objections, right? Because as soon as somebody comes on, they may have some objections. So people will say things like, and I would love to hear some objections you have in the comments, because I'm going to work through them live right here. But you're going to hear things like, oh, I'm not interested in the business. I don't want anything to do with the business. I don't want to go silver. I don't want to post. I don't want to be that girl. I just don't want to be part of it. Okay. You're going to hear no. You're going to hear no. We might as well just get that out of the way, that you're going to have people say no to you about the business. This is not the end of the world. I'm going to give you a statistic. Okay. 30% of your level 1 joins, if they're going silver, you're on track to be a very healthy diamond organization. Who's mind blown right now? 30%. I didn't say 50%. I didn't say 80%. I didn't say 100% of your people need to be silver or building a business. And sometimes we act like that. Sometimes we're like, you must do this for me to be successful. It's just not true. So 30% of your level 1s going silver. And for people who are new, silver is grabbing 3 friends on your referral link. That means that they're so we're going to expect that. No, we're going to expect, okay, not everybody is going to just jump on board and want to do what I want to do. We need to do 8 to 12 touches with each person. And we talk a lot about that with the products, but I think a lot of times people miss the mark with the business. They don't want to follow up. We get scared. We're unsure. We feel like we get nervous around sharing with the business. So put a 2 in the comments if you get nervous sharing the business opportunity and you don't follow up. You don't follow up. You're like, okay, well, we'll just hope that somehow you have heard about silver somewhere along the way. I love to share Megan Milakovic's story on her silver journey, because it took 5 months for her to go silver. And that was 5 months of me messaging her and saying, hey, friend, do you think this month's a good month to go silver? Hey, friend. Okay. Sister girl went emerald in 11 months and promoted sapphire and diamond in 1 month. Okay. It took me 5 months to get her silver. It took me 5 months of follow up. So always be following up. Put in the comments, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to do the 8 to 12 touches of the business. Okay. And I want to give you guys some actual practical things with that. What does the follow up look like? I'm not going to, I never messaged her and was like, hey, you need to go silver. Or I never messaged her and said, if you go silver, it helps me. What I would say is, hey, friend, it is just my mission that you never pay for your products. I want your products for free. Did you know if you sign up 3 people, you get $175? Guess what? It is mind-blowing now. $400? I would have signed up all my hogs, okay, for that kind of money on my farm when I signed up. It used to be $175. I messaged her 5 times. I messaged her once a month, all that follow-up. So I want you to be thinking about, I love to follow up about products. I enjoy coaching products, whatever that is for you. Are you following up with people to go silver, especially with the incentives? So reaching out to other people who have joined you before and even just saying, hey, like we've got some really great incentives going on now, especially because when you join now, you join as a VIP customer and your fast start bonuses don't start until you refer your first. So people still have a chance to earn that fast start bonus, even if they've been on the products for 3 months. So really going back and revisiting these people and saying, you deserve to hear this again. I want to tell you again. And then I love just the connection messages saying things like, oh my gosh, you would be so good at what I do. You're hilarious. You're spontaneous and you're so fun. I can't even imagine what it would feel like to go to Hawaii with you and drive Lexuses with you with our sunroofs open. Like, oh my gosh, I would just love that. So I don't just go in there and say, hey, post this post. Hey, do this thing. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm inviting them in to picture a scenario of a life that they would love to create. Okay. So does everyone kind of follow what I'm saying with that? So following up is important. Okay. So the next question I get a lot is, how do I make somebody want it? If you've ever asked that question, Alita, how do I make somebody want the biz? Okay. Drop a 2 in the comments. Lee, I'm surprised. I mean, you need to add one right now. I'm loving it. How do you make somebody want it? You don't. You don't make them want it, okay? So here's some things, and you can screenshot these, but this is something that Christina Williams shared, and I was like, this is really good. She said, I always, from the beginning, I say, you have to choose your heart. You're going to have to choose to be, and you know their pain points, right? So you know this person. You're like, you've got to choose your heart. You can choose to be broke and live paycheck to paycheck. You can choose for it to be hard for you to afford the products for your family. You can choose to not invest in your health, or you can choose to make a post on Facebook, host a chat event, earn $400 and pay for your products for the next little bit. Like, choose your heart, right? Really making those expectations clear. So I thought that was a really cool point. Help them understand they are choosing paycheck to paycheck. It's hard or it's help. Okay, so that's the same thing. And tell them they aren't alone. Massive, massive point that I feel like has been so critical for people joining my business. So when I would say things like, let's do this, I would go with Lisa to her sip and sees. I would go with LaToya to the sip and sees. I always was sharing, like me and Megan would do our Zoom calls. Me and Cheryl would do our Zoom calls. I never was just like, okay, you signed up, you're going to do this, bye. We remind them, hey, you're not alone. You have a whole team of people here and excited to help you. You aren't alone. And so a reason, okay, and it kind of ties into the next thing, which is we have a system and help. So you're letting them know, hey, you're not alone. And the way you're not alone is we have a system. And that system looks like doing this. You do a first Facebook post. You're going to be put in a chat with our 2 uplines. You're going to get plugged into something called Power Hour, where it's free personal growth and mindset training that people pay tens of thousands of dollars to learn this stuff. And I mean, that is real, you guys. Like, the leaders who speak on this are investing in learning this stuff and passing it on absolutely for free. That is a huge plug to being like, you could get courses and learn things for free. It's just part of something we offer our community. Ask them for a post. Okay. And I put ask lightly. I almost took it out and then I was like, well, no, because you still want to ask and it's going to depend on the person. But a lot of times this is the language that I use. And I'm going to slow it down so that you can write it down if you want to. This is the language I use. I say, I'm so excited for you. Most new VIP customers, go ahead and put it right in there because I don't want them even thinking about some kind of crazy thing where they're going to get on there and be like, oh, I'm devoted to Plexus. I'm committed to Plexus for life. I'm selling Plexus because that's what we think of when we're like, oh, I got to make a post. What does that mean? So I take the worry and anxiety out immediately. Most new VIP customers go ahead and make this post because people really need these products. And then when you use your referral link, you get a bonus $400. So it makes it worth it. But I make sure to touch on a couple of things that they're helping people. I love to let them know, hey, there's people in the dark who are suffering from migraines and diabetes and so many issues, and they're feeling exhausted. They really need these products. I want to help you understand that they need this. And so I'm going to put the post, I'm going to put that together. Okay. Now listen, this is a huge point, and I almost had Lacey entitled, highlight and all the things. Do not agree with them when they say, I can't do it. When they say, okay, and so I had a conversation today about this. Somebody messaged me and they said, oh, they have said that they're not interested in the business. I want you to drop a 3 in the comments if you've ever said they're not interested in the business and you have count them out. Come on, somebody drop a 3 in the comments because I know it happens. Okay. Because I get this message all the time. Oh, Alita, they don't want the business. They don't want the business. I'm not going to do a 3-way chat with them because they don't want the business. I'm not going to ask them to do a shout out post. They've already told me they don't want the business. I want you to change that lens, and I want you to hear me on this. They just don't understand what it is. I never understood what it was. I told Jennifer, I'm never posting. I'm never doing anything you tell me to do. I want nothing to do with the business. And she said to me, if you use your link and get 3 people, you'll earn $175. I was like, done. Thank you so much. Give me the link. And I went ahead and did the things that she told me to do. It was simply because I didn't understand what it all involved. But there's something important. It's like, amen means yes, I agree. When someone says to me, I can't do the business, and I say to them, okay, totally understand. What did I just do? I just came into agreement with their thought that they're incapable of building this business, that they are not able to earn $400 this month, that they're not able to make a post on Facebook and get people in there. So what I want to say to that is I totally understand. I totally understand. I have felt the same way. Let me tell you my story. It's hilarious. But here's what I know to be true is that there are people out there who really need these products, people who have migraines. And again, I'm bringing it back up. I'm reminding them who could need these products, people who have autoimmune issues, all these things that are in your network that could really use these products. And you make $400 for just sharing it. You're not working a business. You're just sharing. Because at that point, they've not necessarily have to commit to working the business to be a silver ambassador. Is that making sense? Everyone feel good about that? Okay. So the next question, how do you motivate your team? Again, the answer, you don't. They motivate themselves. And I love this. So this is what I did a lot of stuff on. And I want to make sure I'm going through all my notes because I have pages of notes on this stuff because it's quite one thing to do it. And then it's another to teach it. But the idea is we have to stop all this pressure on ourselves that it's like we have to convince anybody to do it. We don't have to convince anybody. Okay. If my house was on fire, my neighbor would willingly and happily bring me a fire extinguisher and help me put out my house. If I know my friend is suffering with health issues, I'm going to willingly want to help her. And so when we can frame it in that perspective for people, they get excited. And when I can help somebody figure out their why, and this is something that we've actually not talked a lot about, but figuring out your why. And, there's a saying that says your why should make you cry. But if you're a silver ambassador on here, if you have had one or two people join you, this applies to you all the way to the diamonds that are on here. And that is that finding their why is actually what motivates them. Finding their why is actually what motivates them to continue on, to push forward, to keep going, and to get excited. And you can start finding out their why very early on, from the moment they sign up for their products. So what was your why when you joined? Okay, so I'm going to use, Danielle Vernell is in my line of sight here. So I'm going to use her. Her why when she joined was not to go fast start Senior Ruby and shock the world. Her why was, I just want to feel like a normal person for even half a day. I want to feel healthy. I want to live my life and feel excited. I want to be my best version of myself health-wise. So that was her why. So when we first started doing a 3-way call with her, that was our focus. Was, okay, we're going to focus on this. We're going to help her with her products. And then at the end of it, it was like, well, and if you share with 3 people, if you end up loving it, you're going to get your products covered and you're going to help people. And then your why evolves. Her why evolves as she goes along. All of a sudden it's like, well, I'd love to be home more with my kids. I'd love to be, earning extra income when COVID hit and your salons shut down, all that extra income, all of those things suddenly became a why because she saw the vision for it. So a lot of times, and I know when I first started, I was either like sky high vision or like no vision. Okay. I would either get terrified to say anything at all, or I'd be like, you could be a diamond, or like, we could do all this. And what I've learned is to meet people where they're at, is to just really dig in and be like, what are you interested in about these products? What are you looking forward to? And that, you guys, really does take place best on the phone. It really does. If you can really talk to people and hear why they want to take the products and maybe how $400 could change their month, really change their month this month. And so that could even just look like, what would an extra $400 do for you this month? Well, I could pay my phone bill, my light bill, my water bill. It's like, this could really move me, right? This could really motivate me to doing it. And I didn't say anything. I didn't give them the steps that they had to do. I didn't tell them to do, X, Y, and Z. I'm just having a conversation and inviting them in and asking them about them. Brittany Rout did an amazing power hour this morning on listening. And it really is that. It's asking them the questions. Why are you interested in this? I would love to talk to you more. And guess what that requires us to do? That requires us to slow down and actually talk to the people we're bringing on board. And I know that for me, I can get in a habit where I'm just like, I recruit you. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to move on. I'm going to move forward. I'll see you when I see you, and I want to encourage you that this is the place and the time, especially kind of in our middle of our month, is to really go back and revisit that and say to them, hey, I want to hear about you. I want to hear about your products. I want to hear about your goals. I want to hear about what this could do for you this month and how this could bless you. Because discipline is not a problem if they know their why. So the discipline of working this business and the consistency that it takes and the grit and the grace that it takes is not a problem if they know their why. So when my late husband passed away suddenly and I had no life insurance, guess who never, ever, ever had to call me and say, hey, girl, you can work the business? Jennifer Leith. Because I was so disciplined, because I had such a big why. So I want you to be thinking about that. When you're thinking about helping people tap into that why and tap into why this person would want this, I want you to step out of feeling like I need to convince you, because that's a totally different conversation, and turn it into, I want to help you. So we're turning it out of, I want to convince you and motivate you to work, into, I want to help you see how this could be a really great vehicle for you. And the next thing is, You don't motivate your team by dragging people along. You don't motivate your team by going into your chats and be like, you need to go silver, you need to go silver, you need to go silver. You motivate your team by having conversation with them, by connecting with them and asking them again and again, what is your why? Why do you want this? Why are you still using our products? What are you loving about it? What's going on in your life? I can guarantee you that we see so many people open up on the phone, whereas if it's in Messenger, they kind of get, it's like I message and then 4 minutes later she responds and I get busy cooking dinner and it takes me 20 minutes. Whereas if you're on the phone, you can really hear those objections come up so much quicker. And then you can also hear just their heart behind what maybe is really holding them back. And then you're like, okay, well, let's talk about that. I want to hear what you do want out of your life. And that's a question I love to ask. Are you living the life of your dreams? Really and truly, are you living the life of your dreams? If you could change one thing, what would you change? These are just some of the things. And what would $400 a month do for your family? And if that person is maybe used to more money, I would say something like, what would $2,000 a month extra do for your family? $10,000 a month do for your family? And I just start exploring those questions. There's no wrong way to do it, but I'm not going to just say, hey, you need to go silver. You need to do this. I'm going to invite them into the conversation to see the vision is there for them. Your time is valuable. And so that's why I'm really suggesting to get on the phone with these people, because you really need to be spending the time with the people who want it. Okay. And now I'm talking a little bit to the people who've been here for a couple months or longer, is that you'll know that there'll be people who say they want it, but they don't do the actions. And I want to just kind of remind us again that people who are not doing the actions, or if you find yourself not really staying committed, the bottom line is you don't know what your why is. You just don't. Because if you had a why that caused you to, in the voice of LaToya, burn the ships or close the back doors, if you had that why, you'd be like, I'm all in. And for some people, that is just as simple as I was all in right from the beginning, even before I was widowed, because my name was on the line. My reputation was on the line. And I was like, I'm in it. Like, this is it. But when that back door shut and I was like, okay, I got to go, I reevaluated my why. And so really asking yourself, why do I want this? Why do I need it? And what is my purpose here? So spending the time with people who want it with you as well, because they don't know what they don't know. All right. And we already kind of covered that. So really making sure that you're sharing with them those things of really helping to try and help them understand what it is that we do. Don't underestimate anybody. Okay. Don't underestimate anybody. I have a story to share about this, and you all know her and love her, Cheryl Muller. I never dreamed in 100 bazillion years that Cheryl Muller would be my first diamond. Okay. She signed up and literally was like, I will never work this business. I am like signing up in secret. I don't want anyone to know I'm even taking the products. I'm only going to take a half a stick of Slim a day. I underestimated her so much. I counted her out from the very beginning, so much so that she signed Megan up underneath her. I didn't know because she was put under the wrong Cheryl for 2 entire months. So Megan was not even on my team for 2 months, even though she had signed her up. And what I learned from that was that nobody can be discounted for the business, no matter how much they tell you, no matter how much they are just with their actions or like, I don't want this, I'm not doing it, I don't whatever. We don't underestimate them. And so always just staying in contact. Me and her were already in a great relationship. So it was, easy and wonderful. But this brings me to the next part, which is trust the process. When you have systems in place, when you have your team calls, and we have lots on the Diamond Minds already for you to plug into, right? And you can trust that process, is that it works. Okay. So everything that we just talked about in what it is, the steps to do to getting these are the kind of the main questions. And so we're going to kind of get to the part where I'm just going to share a simple system that I use for everybody. And then I just trust the process. I put that into application and then I trust the process because I know that there's not much that I can do outside of offering this and then trusting the process, being consistent and trusting the process. So making sure that you really are doing the things that you need to do because that consistency compounds. Okay. So I'm going to do, before I talk about being vulnerable, because that's the last thing I want to talk about, I do want to talk about just the system that you should do for every single person that joins your team. And I will add this into the Mountain Movers because I actually have it that in a script that I send to every single person. But what you want to do is when they sign up, I love to send them a message that just says, oh my goodness, I'm so excited that you signed up. As soon as your products come in, I want you to get started. So here's a couple questions that I like to ask. Do you drink coffee in the morning? And the only reason I'm asking that is because I want to see how I'm going to help them fit the slim into their morning. Okay. So you can have it before coffee, you can have it after coffee, but I just want to know kind of what their routine is and what they like going on. So I find that a good question to sort of just open it up. And then I ask the question, I let them know like, hey, we're also going to be talking about your bowel movements. You know, do you have more than one bowel movement a day or less? And then I'll just put in parentheses, like we're getting real close here, laughing emoji, right? So keeping it light, but I'm asking a couple questions about the products just to get us started and in that place. In the same message, right down below, and I say, and also I would be absolutely crazy and doing you a huge disservice if I didn't let you know that for right now, if you share your referral link and post this post and get 3 friends to join you, you can earn $400. So immediately, that is my system right there in a nutshell. I'm asking them to do the first Facebook post. I'm touching base with them. I'm starting to coach them on their products. And now I'm going to make a welcome graphic and I'm going to welcome them to my Jewel Team page. That is the system. I love to do 3-way calls, 3-way messages, whatever that looks like and however that feels best for you. Some people call them welcome calls. Some people do unboxing calls where they actually unbox the welcome pack with you. Whatever that looks best for you, I find it absolutely the best, again, is when we can get on the phone with people because we can hear so much more in their reflection of their voice or getting on Zoom and doing those things. So you're going to do your system and then you're going to trust the process. The last thing I want to touch on is being vulnerable. What that means is don't try to always just be this professional expert that knows everything and that is just like, you know, I'm going to come at you and you're just going to have to do what I say all the time. Just be vulnerable. Be like, I know what you're feeling. I felt the same way. I was terrified to do my first post. Or maybe you're like, you know what? I felt really excited to do my first post. Let's talk through why you feel scared. Being vulnerable is such a good thing. Vulnerable equals relatable. Vulnerable equals relatable. People who aren't doing the business with you are just uninspired. They haven't found something that they've related to. And that's okay for some people. They're never going to relate to what we're doing. That's okay. But if you're looking and you've signed up a lot of people and they're not doing the business, I want to encourage you to be vulnerable / relatable. How can I relate to you and get you to just hear what I have to share? I want to get you on a call with somebody. One thing that Lisa Youngs has been doing is she's been messaging people and saying, you would be amazing at what I do. You're so outgoing, you're funny, and you're so fun. I would love to just get you on a call with me and my friend Alita. So we get on a call with people and we just share. But what we don't do is we don't share a lot about our stories. What we want to do is ask them what their pain points are. I want to talk to them and really hear, what would you change about your life? What would you change about what's going on? And then I'm going to tell them how Plexus could be a solution for those problems. That's where plexus comes in. Because if I spend the whole time talking about how I was widowed and it helped me with this and it helped me with that, yes, it's inspiring in 1 to 2 sentences, but chances are they're not a young widow. Chances are they don't have 4 little kids. I want to make sure that I'm relatable to them in what they need, because it's not about me convincing them. It's about them feeling motivated and them hearing their story, them hearing themselves in those questions, and me being vulnerable and really them getting self-motivated by having a why. That's the whole thing. If I can help somebody see their why, they're instantly self-motivated. Okay? So trust the process. Don't underestimate anybody. All the people I signed up that I thought for sure would be my rock stars never were. And everybody that I thought wouldn't is all the jewels on my team. Okay. And so I want you to know that you're not always going to feel just 100% convinced that somebody could do it, but you also have to think about who they know. And you also have to think about getting your hands into other people's networks through helping people post and all of those things. There is a process, and everything that we have you do and everything that Jennifer had me do was intentional. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to have anything else. If we just keep this process going, you don't need to invent the wheel.